I meant to bring get an orange.
New Year's.
Oh, New Year's, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it seemed like forever since we met, because it was August. I didn't realize October.
It like ran out last week.
Just 2 days left.
Yeah, it's moving in the right direction, so I'm just gonna play it safe and wear it like for like if I want it to be like if I'm not like standing.
Do you have to keep it elevated?
I usually do.
How long?
5.5 days.
Oh my
I've been
goodness.
trying, it's
Next
just,
Tuesday is my last. Well, I have to work
it's
that
just,
day on
it
Tuesday
just
and then I
sounds
have to
fine.
work.
There's a lot of things that
February
make
27th is my
progress.
last official.
Go the opposite direction,
I have enough, well, I wanted 160, and I had 150. I wanted to take the whole month.
So the day's not over.
I could, but no, I'm gonna come in, I got to do it. I have a lot to do in my office to get rid of. I'm so glad that 3 years ago they kicked me out of my real office.
So you did like a sub move.
Oh, I did a supplement, we cleaned it.
Finally had a meeting with Cindy on the garage.
Records, first time I public works with me.
We're so excited.
Yeah,
Filled 4
plans. And it was very, very close. The people that have handled the civic center, it's like my assembly station. So anyway, parking lot. This drive over here, because you don't have time to have a check. Coming down here, also eliminating the sport loading stock. She's going to have black it also eliminates filters. We're going to ride filters raised to 192. We grade in the garage, much further away. First freeze is 2006. But anyway, near the elevators.
So it's about to report button.
And those keys in, yeah.
I offered them a solution, but it.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining us. It is Monday, January 26th, 2026. It is currently 5:32 and I would like to call the Bicycle Pedestrian Trails Advisory Committee meeting to order. First order of business is standing for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, next up is public comments. Do we have any public comments?
Do we have any public?
Okay, not having any public comments, I do have a few quick announcements. So the first is I just wanted to say thank you to Devin. This is his last night with us in the BPTAC, so I just wanted to say thank you for all his contributions and being with us and things like that. The second announcement is due to family illness. Dale Allen will not be with us tonight, so he will not be giving his 2 presentations. So if you want to go ahead and remove those from the agenda. And apologize that it wasn't announced earlier. It was kind of a split quick decision due to family illness. So But in that sense, we will go ahead and keep on going. So our next agenda item is the reports, the Executive Director's Report. Georgiana and Jolette, would you take it away, please?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, and Happy New Year, everyone. Just a few items in the report. In the first attachment, we have the TPO project status and updates. And of course, these are our planning studies that are currently underway, and we have a couple new studies that we are embarking on, so if you have any questions, just let us know. We also have our December 2025 Public Engagement Report in Attachment 2. There's quite a few items in there. Well, you know, we've been very busy over the past couple of months, specifically Abby and Leah. We are going to be, in the spring, embarking on a council tour. And this is really to go and visit the cities and the city councils to really reinforce who the TPO is, what we do, and why it matters, why they need to get involved in the planning. Of course, you know, within each city, we typically will have someone sitting on the TPO board, but the other council members may not know who we are and what exactly we do and how it fits into the big picture. So that's always important. We haven't went on a council tour for 3 years? About 3 years. So we're overdue. Because there's definitely been a lot of turnover in the elected officials. Also, there are several other items I wanted to bring to your attention. The TPO, Leah developed a distracted driving presentation with a pre-test and a post-test to measure learning. And this program will be delivered in 5 high schools offering driver's ed in the county. And this is something new, and so we're really proud of all that hard work that she's doing. And there's also some upcoming social media topics that Abby has put in here. Older Driver Safety Awareness Week. Well, actually, that was in December, excuse me. Let's see here, what else? So we were very, very busy. Let me just say that over the last couple of months. And then the last item I wanted to bring to your attention was the 2026-28 Governing Board Strategic Plan. This is a 3-year plan that the TPO board adopted in December. And they have determined that really there are 3 emphasis areas that they should be focusing on. And the first one is funding the future, which is new, partnership and outreach, and then linking mobility and land use. And to kind of kick this off, the Technical and Citizens Advisory Committee and the TPO board meetings in February, the first meeting of the year, will have a funding the future presentation, and they're going to really kind of get into the nitty-gritty of you know, the different funding opportunities, different taxes, and some of the challenges that we have in funding transportation. So, Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Okay, any questions or comments? Okay, hearing none, we will move over to the FDOT report. So Stephanie is stepping away, so I would like to welcome our newest member, Huna, who is the FDOT coordinator. So please take it away.
Hi, I'm happy to be here. I will be representing FDOT moving forward. I have nothing specific to report today, but if there's anything I need to take back or respond, happy to.
We're glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome.
Yes, all right, well, thank you. Okay, next order of business is the approval of the minutes from the August 2025 meeting minutes. I know you guys were sent them ahead of time, so if anybody doesn't have any changes, I'm looking for a motion to approve and a second.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Okay, Carl motions to approve.
Motion a second.
Okay, Drew second. Any opposed? All those in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. The minutes are approved, so we are continuing on. So the next up on the agenda is the annual elections of officers. And I know we have a slight process change, so I'm going to turn it over to Zoe to guide us through that.
Okay, so every year annually, we are going to elect a chair and a vice chair. As the administrator, I've kind of taken over handling that with the nominations and motions and such. So I'll kind of explain each position. BPTAC will be really quick. There's only 2 positions. I'll open the floor to nominations. They don't need to be seconded. A member may self-nominate. If you're an alternate here in place of your member, you may not make a nomination. If there's only one candidate that is nominated, they'll be declared elected by acclamation, but we will need a motion and a second to approve. And any multiple nominations will lead to a vote by show of hands. So I'll call for further nominations. If I hear none, I will close, and then after all the nominations have been made, we will put to a vote if needed. So this is in accordance with our policy. A chair and vice chair will be elected at the last regularly scheduled meeting. If that meeting does not occur, which it did not this year, then at the next meeting of the committee, which is what we're doing today. The officers will serve for a period of 1 year from January 1st until December 31st. The chair shall call and preside at all meetings, and then the other position we're doing today is vice chair, which will serve as the chair in their absence. In the absence of a chair and the vice chair, at that point we would appoint a member at that particular meeting, but that's only if they're both absent. So their currently held chair is Angelica Keene, and vice chair is Alan Woolwich. They both told me they are, okay and interested in retaining their seats. Alan is out sick today, but someone can still nominate him. I've already spoken to him about that. So I'll go ahead and open the floor to nominations for chair. I see Murray.
I'd like to nominate Angelica for chairman and Alan for...
So we're going to do one at a time. So I'll take your nomination for Angelica for the chair.
I think you just said that, so...
That's okay. We're all learning together. So, I already forgot what I said. So yeah, any other nominations for chair? Mm-hmm.
Not for chair,
Okay, so we'll do any nominations for chair, otherwise I'll close. Okay, since there were no other nominations, Angelica is elected by acclamation, but I will take a motion and a second to approve that. So motion?
I'll make a motion.
Drew, motion from Devin. Any second? Second from Carl, thank you. All right, congratulations, Angelica. Thank you for serving for another year. All right, and then I will open for nominations for vice chair. Any nominations, vice chair? Oh, Drew?
I'd like to nominate Alan Woolwich for vice chair.
In absentia.
Any other nominations for vice chair? All right, I'll go ahead and close that. And so Alan will be elected. Is there a motion and a second to approve Alan's election?
I'd second Alan.
So Murray with a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
I saw Carl with a second. All right. So that is it. And so just as usual, check your emails. That's where I'll send the agenda packages and calendar invitations, meeting reminders. And then if you cannot attend, just let me know and we will figure that out. Oh, yes.
I just wanted to add something is I don't think we've had this issue with this committee, but please do not copy or do weird things to Zoe's calendar invites because everyone receives those notifications. So if you try to forward it on, it can potentially forward to everyone, and we've had us end up with with meetings wrongly on our calendar, and we don't want anyone to show up and there not be a meeting, especially after hours at 5:30.
Yeah, if there's any questions, you can always give us a call or an email and we'll help you figure that out, make sure everyone's where they're supposed to be. So, okay, thank you.
Okay, so thank you guys, and looking forward to guiding another year. So next on the agenda is presentations, and we have the public participation plan, Abby Hemingway, so if you would please take it away. Thank you.
Well, good evening, members. I don't get the joy of seeing you as often as I used to. I'm Abby Hemingway. I'm the Public Information and Outreach Manager for the Space Coast TPO. And tonight I'm presenting our adopted 2025 Public Participation Plan, or what we refer to as the PPP. We were supposed to bring this to you in October during the draft version, but now it's adopted. But I'm excited to walk you through some of the comments that we received and how we promoted this core work product. So just like the Long Range Transportation Plan, Transportation Improvement Program, it's also a core work product, and it's one that matters. It all comes from citizen input and walking them through the transportation planning process. So your agenda packet did include this pretty lengthy document, but I did hope you had the chance to review it. Okay, so what is the purpose of the PPP? This is a document that's updated every 3 years, and it really serves as the foundation of how we ensure transparency, accessibility, and meaningful public involvement. It outlines when, how, and with whom we communicate during the development of our plans, programs, and studies. And most of all, it ensures that we meet all federal and state requirements, including Title VI. Since it's updated every 3 years, our practices, as you can imagine, especially with communications, evolve over time, so we implement new strategies to reach our desired audience, our Space Coast citizens and stakeholders. This update, we're going to go walk through it a little bit more, but this update reflects a few new digital engagement practices, updated demographic profiles, lessons learned from recent major plan updates, including like the Long Range Plan and the Transportation Improvement Program. And lastly, we amended some sections to simplify and clarify the document for this general audience. So getting more just into the weeds, and digging a little bit. So this year's PPP, one, we updated some language to make it more clear, to reduce that jargon. It's hard in transportation planning, we love an acronym, but we really tried to key in on some of the phrases that we felt like could be simplified. We also updated some expectations for each core work product when it came to amendments, making sure that everything aligned and was consistent. We updated census data. We also expanded use of our digital tools, such as virtual meetings, interactive platforms, some website features. We also refreshed our core work product summary. This section outlines all the expectations for each major plan. And lastly, we updated our performance measures to reflect current ways that we evaluate effectiveness. Okay, so the public review period for the PPP, this is one of our extensive comment periods. It's 45 days. Most of our core work products are about 30 days. And so we really try to give ample time for the public to review this document, to review the ways that we, our participation methods and our platforms as well. So they had from October 27th through December 11th to review this document, and they had multiple ways to provide comments. We had an online comment form, like through a portal on our website. This has kind of been the way that we've been going with all of our core products, but we also give the citizens other ways. They can send a direct email, they can call us, of course, or they can still snail mail, should they choose. They can send it to us in writing. And some of the other formats that we provided public comment opportunities were, of course, at our meetings like this, our Technical and Citizens Advisory Committee meeting, our Transportation Disadvantaged Level Coordinating Board meeting, and TPO Governing Board meetings as well. Okay, so now to kind of showcase how did we get this out into the public and to make sure that they knew about it and all the channels to make sure that we are committing ourselves to providing flexible, accessible, and equitable participation. So here's a snapshot of some of our newsletter, press release, and news media features about the draft PPP. And so you can see here, we have snapshots of, we included it both in our October en route newsletter. This newsletter is specifically about kind of what's trending in transportation. And then we also put it in our Get Involved Gazette that talks more about public opportunities for outreach and input. We also did a final press release push, which was released in early December, kind of as a last call. And we also had a feature in the December edition of the Brevard County newsletter. So those are just some snapshots of that. And then, of course, digital media is huge when it comes to our core work products. These are a few examples of our social media posts that were published on Facebook, X, formerly known as Twitter, LinkedIn, and Nextdoor to announce the draft's availability, to provide direct links for comment,
and additional reminders were reviewed over the public comment period. We even tried to play into this second one that you see here with the people around the iPad. That was actually on Black Friday, so we played into like, don't miss this deal, you're gonna wanna shape transportation for the future. So we tried to get creative. And it was nice that we were able to put out multiple posts during this public comment period. And then of course our website, this is huge, a lot of people, this is our first landing page where they come to. And so here you can see we did a homepage banner, which linked directly to the PPP webpage, which I'll show you here in a minute. Also on this homepage, we had it in our events section for 45 days. It stayed at the very top there. We also had it in our news section for every time that we featured it. And then also when you clicked on that events and meetings, you could actually see how it showed every single day that it was available. Oops. I'm missing something. Okay. Well, lastly, if you go onto the PPP page, it also showed you the public comment portal and the different ways that they can still provide public comments. Okay, so what kind of comments did we get? This is the biggest part. Did we do our job, really getting it out there and making sure that we had some meaningful comments come back? So overall, the feedback that we received during the review period was supportive of the PPP structure and intent, and there was some great input that actually we incorporated, and I'll show you how we did that. We received a total of 7 comments. 4 were online, 2 were via email, and 1 was an in-person comment from a governing board member at our final meeting on December 11th when it was adopted. And an overview of some of the comments were, obviously the PPP needs clearer language, it kind of relies on tech jargon, enhancing the core work product table because it was a lot of text, maybe including some icons, and I'll show you what we did there. Incorporating that we do interactive engagement methods. This was one that was a really great comment that we're not our best cheerleader when we come to what do we use for digital engagement, like when we're in person at meetings. So we've used Mentimeter, which we try to get a real gauge of how people are feeling at in-person workshops. Other comments, we had one person reach out and say we need a centralized contact us form, which we did have, but it was kind of, I don't want to say buried, but it was not as friendly as it could be, and I'll give you an example of how we remedied that. A few comments, this always happens in core work products related really to roadway conditions, which is not a comment on the PPP, but we made sure to forward those to the appropriate agencies. And then the last 2, one comment advocated for a centralized calendar list of all workshops and meetings for ongoing public projects in Brevard County. While we do our best to gather all that info, that's going to be an ongoing challenge, but we're trying to post all of our partner and FDOT's public meetings when we get those in advance. And then lastly, our in-person comment encouraged staff to consider including engagement metrics of the promotion of this draft PPP within the final document, which we did. So I'm going to walk you through that. But most importantly, there were no comments or major suggested changes to the PPP's procedures, timelines, required activities. Those are the ones sometimes that can take more effort. But all in all the comments were received, reviewed, logged, and then incorporated as part of this final document. So what does that look like when we go to finally draft the final version? So you spoke, we listened, incorporating these public comments. So walking you through here on the left, when I talked about that core work product, here's just an example of they felt like it was a lot of text, so we included maybe some icons to break that up for the eye. In the middle here is the engagement metrics that our governing board member had suggested that we include in the final document. And to the right of that, where you see the surveys and questionnaires, within that text, we talked about how now we include mobile-friendly formats like Mentimeter, QR codes, live polling, etc. And lastly, on the bottom, this space used to just say contact us, and instead we refined it to seem a little bit more approachable, have a question connect with us. So, to close us out, the BPP was adopted by our governing board on Thursday, December 11th, 2025. The next update will take place in October 2028, but we always continue to monitor this document over time if, the engagement landscape out there, calls for it. For example, when COVID happened and we weren't doing virtual meetings and it became the standard, we had to update our PPP as an amendment. So sometimes that happens. But all in all,
You can find the full document and all of the engagement summary on our website at spacecoastcpo.com/BPP. And if you have any comments, questions, I'm happy to take them.
I have a comment. I think that the Space Coast TPO does an amazing job of keeping the citizens, the staff, everybody informed. I mean, I don't know how you all do it. It blows my mind. So,
Thank you, Deb. She's very talented.
I know she is. I know she is.
Thank you.
That's all that I have, Madam Chair.
Okay, thank you so much, Abby, for that very clear and detailed report and outline. I look forward to seeing more of the information that you're sharing, and I'll watch for that. At this point, does anybody have any business comments, share for the good of the group? Drew?
I'm going to address this. I probably should have asked first of all, welcome from our DOT. We are very happy to have you here. And it's Poorna.
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 Poorna. Poorna.
Poorna.
Like, we need the pool. Poorna.
Oh,
If
okay.
it's easier to remember.
Well, welcome, first of all. I know that there is some stuff coming up, and I think today it was released that newsletter that there's some things happening in the legislature for e-bikes, and I think that came out, and I think there's a couple things going, including the registration of them. And we've talked about that off and on. I think in August, I think in the minutes it's shown, we raised some questions about the different classifications and such. But I didn't know if you had any insight on that. It seems to be our sleeper issue out there. There's more e-bikes, they're going faster, people don't understand, they just see the thing coming or they don't see it coming at all. They step in its way. I didn't know if there's going to be more training coming from the HSMV during driver's license, because it's not just the e-bike users, it's the pedestrians and it's the drivers. And we're flip-flopping where who is and what they're to do or not do. And I think there's a potential for our Vision Zero to really address that from this county, because we have some bad stats going. But I'm thinking the e-bikes, it's very prevalent here. I don't know if other counties are seeing the growth like we are, but we've had some articles in the local newspaper on it and such. And I didn't know if you had any comments or suggestions for us. I'm sorry for such a long intro, but welcome. Thank you.
No worries at all. It is an evolving topic. At this time, we don't have any additional information beyond what's passed by the legislature. Currently, a bill just made it through one of the House.
Okay.
So there will be additional restrictions, I believe, coming, or recommendations, I should say recommendations coming from the legislature, but as of now, there are a lot of data gaps, and because e-bikes are not necessarily identified in the crash reports. So from a data perspective, the FLHSMV is working on crash form updates, so e-bikes can be recorded. As far as the use increase, it's throughout the nation and all over Florida, so it's not unique to a specific community. I believe Stephanie had forwarded some of the education materials that District 5 has put together.
Yes.
But as far as legislation, things are evolving, so I don't know that I have any additional insights at this time. However, there's a Bike Ped Coalition happening tomorrow and day after, and I think some of these will be discussed. I can bring that information back and share that with our TPO members, and I can share that at the next meeting.
That'd be great.
Abby, so from the local level, there's the statewide issue. We need some laws across the state, but then there's a lot going on at the local level, so I'll let Abby give a little brief.
Well, from the TPO angle, what's difficult about that is there's no current statute to fall back on for safety or laws. And so from the TPO, we've been trying to educate about class types, of course, also trying to educate parents, don't put your child on something that can go 28 miles per hour. But what I can say is locally,
I just went last week or the week before to the city of Satellite Beach is getting ready to adopt a new ordinance for e-bikes and e-motos. And Beachside is really kind of rallying together right now and adopting their own ordinances. Right now, City of Cocoa Beach is on the sidewalks, they can ride 15 miles per hour. Indian Harbor adopted 10 miles per hour, and Satellite Beach is going to adopt 10 miles per hour. Will that fix the issue of pedestrians and them colliding? Probably not. I do know that Satellite Beach has done a lot because they shared it at this town hall, which was filled. It was standing room only. They talked a lot about education through enforcement, stopping kids, talking to them because it's mainly their community, it's teens. But a lot is happening at the local level. Actually, BCSO just reached out to the Space Coast TPO to come and help support the e-bike safety class that they're going to do in the Cape Canaveral precinct. We're going to come and do a helmet fit and support their effort, but they're going to lead a whole e-bike safety class. And it's really just because they have no statutes to fall back on right now, it's really talking through the different classes and honing in on the wattage. All the PDs so far have really honed in on the wattage of these e-bikes and being safe and unsafe. So it's definitely an evolving conversation, but what we've heard from our PDs is like, and we've said this actually internally at the TPO, it's like the e-bikes are moving faster than legislation can keep up with them, faster than education can keep up with them. But what I've heard some of the PDs also say, which I thought was really good to general audiences and parents specifically, is, you know, don't trust these sites like Walmart and Amazon and all these places that are trying to, you know, they don't care about regulation, they don't care about safety. So I'm glad that's part of the topic, but we're continuing to work with our PDs, work with our cities to see how we can support their effort. We even did something for Christmas leading up, like thinking about buying an e-bike. Here's what you should know. We actually saw a lot of law enforcement do that as well. So it's an ongoing discussion, and we're just trying to see what our role is in it, supporting their efforts. But at the end of the day, having an ordinance to fall back on is helpful, but it won't negate everything that's currently happening, you know.
This is sort of a crazy extemporaneous kind of idea, but with the same concept that we can codify products so they're not stolen, could we, because I know there's going to be an effort, or that is part of the legislation that's being considered or in process, to basically regulate the manufacturing and register different, I guess, this e-bike versus e-moto, the different classes and such. But I'm thinking, if we're trying to determine where the bike's allowed to be at what point based on the road conditions or sidewalk conditions, multimodal, whatever, at that point, if we could look at this gadget and basically look electronically and know that that's whatever type of unit, it should only go so fast or be only one place. And I'm thinking we have the technology, maybe time to introduce that concept into the rhetoric on it. Just for the sake, because I can't imagine our law enforcement now trying to understand what it is riding on the sidewalk and up, and now it's in the road, are they going too fast, or let alone the people. But until we kind of can codify it, we have the technology. If the e-bike is growing that quick in popularity, and we're still in the same spot, that may be an angle nobody's thought of for what it's worth. So I should have put it in as a comment. Thank you.
I don't know if this is working. Then one of the Vision Zero meetings we had, they were talking about doing bicycle traffic signs. I don't know if any of Satellite Beach, Indian Harbor, Cocoa, if they're doing traffic signals for bikes. That was at the Vision Zero meeting. They talked about that. Is that coming? Do we have like a training for that coming up?
I think those were more examples of, it's a very specific, like it can work very well in a very specific area. So it's, again, that's kind of what the presentation at the Vision Zero leadership team meeting, a lot of those examples as well, they're a little bit older. So the combination of the higher speeds with the e-bikes plus,
Don't work with the signs.
yeah, not, or at least not in maybe where it would be applied here. It's kind of a very specific place where it'll work, where you have more conflict points between cars and bikes.
Okay.
So it's not a one size fits all.
That was just a thought as you were talking about, because I actually went to our PD after that meeting to talk about if that was something, because I know they express a lot of heartburn regarding e-bikes and the bike giveaway program, and I know the rodeos that you guys sort of do educationally before giving out a bike to anyone, having sort of a preset education, almost like a driver's ed, but a bike ed, and wrap e-bike education in there somewhere. But I was kind of hoping that standard with the signage was going to be included, of like they teach you about driving, like this is what this sign means. But maybe that's too far ahead.
Yeah, well, Tyler Wright just reached out to us.
Oh, good.
About some bike safety certification, maybe. Again, like the e-bike, we only have very generic information, and it's really just cautioning people because we don't have anything to fall back on yet. We don't even have a full-fledged presentation, really, an education presentation that we can take. When we go to the public, teams, for example, like this summer, we incorporated it into a generic presentation that we have called Roll Right, Stroll Right. And so when we get to the roll right part, talking about general bike safety, how do you ride, and riding with traffic, all the kind of general safety things, or a helmet, all that kind of stuff. We added slides about e-bikes, but we don't have a full e-bike presentation just yet. It's just, we're not there. The TPO specifically isn't just there yet. But all that to say, we're trying to work with our partners, we're trying to support them as much as we can, but I'm definitely going to follow up with Titusville PD to see how we can set them up for success.
Yeah, I don't know if this is something that this committee can suggest for maybe the executive boards, but I think there's a lot of people at the respective cities that if you had a meeting for that would be interested. Like I know our PD, our public works, our community development would all want to be, not just me, our economic development especially too, would want to be there for that. I'm sure other cities too, but I would love to know, like, yeah, exactly what Indian Harbor and Satellite Beach are trying to do.
It's good information.
Abby, I don't know if this is working. Okay. FDOT does have a safety presentation specific to e-bikes, and there's also a couple versions of what you need to know type of brochure. One for general audience, one for parents, and they're now working on a high school student specific brochure. So those may be information that I could share with you.
Yeah, that would be great. You can share back with Vision Zero Vision team and this committee. Okay, thank you. It was a good discussion. So without hearing any other additional hands or comments, I will go ahead and adjourn this meeting. It is 6:06. Our next meeting will be Monday, April 27th. So have a great night.
Thank you. And my wife got us busy. March 1st for Europe.
Oh, no. It's one of those things where like,
Presenting there are lots of obviously
Everybody's staying. Nobody's carrying on. So it's wonderful. On an empty island, I'm safe. But all of those animals.
It's working. And something like that.